Thanks for tuning in to Christ Fellowship Church on YouTube. We're so blessed that you've chosen to take some time out of your day to spend it with us.
We hope you enjoyed this week's message.
We're here in Migori, Kenya, where for the past 10 years, we as a church have been partnering with a ministry called Kenya Relief to care for the needy people in this region, particularly for hundreds and hundreds of orphans, many who have been left orphaned through the AIDS epidemic.
Yeah, now these beautiful children, they're being raised in a loving home where every day they're learning about the love and the hope that only Jesus can bring. Church, several years back, we were able to partner with Kenya Relief and build this school right here in Migori, Kenya, not only for the orphans that live here at the orphanage, but also for all of the children that live in this region.
What was once an empty field has now become a place where kids are learning about the hope and the future that Jesus has for them. One of those children that were left orphaned years ago, her name was Stancy. We want you to hear her story.
My mama and my baba died some years back. I think I was just traumatized because when my father died, we were found being homeless. We had no parents. We had nothing at all. We had nothing, even the clothing, even the relatives that we had around could not manage to take good care of us. I could have not gone to school because even if you see around, there was no money to take me to school. The organization took us as their own and gave us a lot of care and protection. We went through school. Actually, I went through primary, high school, and college. I did social work. Yes, and right now I'm a social worker at that place, Kenya Relief, and I'm working with the children. If I think of where I've come from, actually I always say thank you to God, because if it was not Him, actually I could not make it in life. And where I'm going to, I know He's still with me, and I know He's always besides me. Thank you very much, the Christ Fellowship, for everything that they have done to change people's lives. I know it's not my life alone, but even the other people's life. It's a wonderful work that you guys are doing, and I really love it, and may God bless you so much.
I love that as a church, we're a part of radically changing lives there in Kenya and here in South Florida.
It's hard to believe that in a region known for extreme wealth here at home, that over 100,000 people across our counties will go to sleep hungry tonight. And as a church, we want to do something about that. We called it Pack the Pantry. We were able to collect 45,000 pounds of canned food and non-perishable food. That translates to over 37,000 meals.
This gift that we're going to give together in just a few weeks will outlast this Christmas season and reach into the coming year through our 4 Saturdays Serve projects. Every month, volunteers from all of our church campuses put their faith into action and make an impact in our cities.
This year alone, we saw over 16,000 hours sown into our communities by nearly 5,000 amazing volunteers. And this year, we were beyond excited to open our Christ Fellowship Belle Glade campus location. What we are seeing today in the Belle Glade community is the result of a seed that was planted many years ago through our Christ birthday offering. And it was this special offering that we gave together just a few years ago that also made it possible to open our Belle Glade Life Center.
Yeah, the Belle Glade Life Center is making a significant impact in this community through our after-school care programs for students from kindergarten all the way through 12th grade. They're receiving tutoring, mentoring, and a place for spiritual development.
This coming year, we will reach more students through their Christian clubs and in their public schools. We will work even harder to get the message of anti-bullying to the forefront of the conversation through our partnership with All Access Productions.
And we're going to continue to care for children in need in our own communities through our Place of Hope and Urban Youth Impact Ministries, as well as our children in Kenya, Haiti, India, and the Philippines.
So I want to challenge you to begin to pray with Julie and me about what we can each give this Christmas. Every dollar we give to our Christ birthday offering goes to making an impact in the lives of others all year long. It'll make the joy of Christmas last more than just one day. So this Christmas, join us as we dream big and pray boldly for all the amazing things God is waiting for us to do together. God bless you.
Merry Christmas.
makes you proud, doesn't it? I mean, doesn't it just make you proud? I mean, to see, it's the right kind of pride, but it just makes you proud. To be part of a fellowship, part of a church that literally every year says that their Christmas offering, their birthday gift to Jesus, let's gather as much as we possibly can and give it away. Give it all away to help people, to all the wonderful things you saw on that video, plus so much more. And it just makes me proud. I just kind of want to go around and just tell people that this is where I belong, and this is my church, and there's no place like this place anywhere near this place. So this must be the place. I'm so glad to be with you. I miss it when I'm gone and not able to be here, and then to be able to come back and teach them. Very, very excited. I got up real early this morning and kind of looked at the message one more time, and it, about 5 o'clock this morning, I almost called you. I did. I just almost called you and said, look, can we do it now? Can we have service right now? I mean, can we not come right now? Now, my name's John, and I'm your friend. And I'm going to do your Christmas shopping for you. It's just amazing what I'm about to do for you. I wrote this book this summer called The Power of Five. After the service, I'm going to be out there and I'm going to sign it. Now, when you buy any of my stuff, it all goes to the church. I get nothing out of it, never have, never will. So they make a profit of it, which is great. But anyway, this is your Christmas shopping right here. But you can only buy 100 copies per person. So we're putting a limit on it, and I'll sign it. You got your sign, hello. Trust me, if you don't do this today on Christmas Eve, you'll wish I was around. When you have that one gift or that extra. Anyway, and The Power of Five, I wrote it this summer, so it's just a brand new book. In fact, I asked for them to release it down here if they would. It's not even released out into bookstores or public markets yet. But I asked them to do it. And The Power of Five basically says this, that when you discover the 5 things that you really need to do, and you do them, you'll experience the power of 5. This is a book all about what are the 5 things, and basically the same 5 things for every one of us. That if I do them well, and if I do them consistently, they'll bring a tremendous return of value to people's lives and to my life. And so that's what the Power of 5 is all about, and I'll sign it afterwards. And now let's get to the teaching, because this lesson, oh my. I'm so sorry. I shouldn't be so excited about what I'm going to say, but I'm excited. And I'm excited because this has potential to change your life. If you'll just kind of listen and take a few notes and apply it to your life, there are some of you, you're going to walk out of here in about 35 minutes, and trust me, it's going to be a game changer for you. Because I want to talk about living generously. I want to talk about the fact that every one of us we have a choice in our life. We have a choice to live generously and think abundance, or we have a choice if we want to basically hold everything for ourselves and live maybe what I would call a selfish life, a life maybe of scarcity. And it's a choice. So let me start by this question. How many of you believe that our God is a generous God? Could I see? Huh? You buy into that, huh? I got both hands up. I'm telling you, we got a generous God. Amen? And the reason that I want to start there is because living generously in your life and my life begins with the recognition of who God is. God is a very generous God. He is our model. He is our example of the life that we should live. So I'm going to bombard you in this session more than normal with Scripture, because I want to make sure that you understand the biblical foundation for every one of us living a generous life. And by the way, generous life has nothing to do with what your income is. A generous life has nothing to do with what your job is. I've known very average or even below average people as far as money who were very generous, haven't you? And I've known some people who are highly wealthy that weren't generous at all. So it has nothing to do with what your income is, but it has everything to do with how you think. And so I'm going to just start laying scripture on you. I'm going to start with the fact that our God is a generous God. So just stay with me and go quickly. And the person on your left probably isn't as quick as you. So as you take notes, slide them over for them, would you? Just kind of help them out, okay? So that we can move kind of together rather quickly. Here we go, Psalm 105. For God is sheer beauty, all generous. That's our God. All generous in love, loyal always and ever. Psalm 145:16. God is generous to a fault. You lavish your favor on all of your creatures. And by the way, God is very generous to everyone, not just to people of faith. He's generous to everyone. Romans 10:11. Scripture reassures us. No one who trusts God like this, heart and soul, will ever regret it. It's exactly the same no matter what a person's religious background may be. The same God of all of us acting the same incredibly generous way to everyone who calls out for help. Everyone who calls, help God, gets help. This is huge. I'm talking to you right now about a way of thinking. And to be honest with you, it works for a believer and it works for a non-believer. There are principles in God's kingdom and in God's word that whether you're a Christ follower or not, if you just know the principles and practice the principles, your life will greatly improve. We just had a great time of worship this morning. And what is worship but recognizing the generosity of God? Psalm 52:2. So here I am in the place of worship, eyes open, drinking in your strength and glory. In your generous love, I'm really living at last. My lips brim praises like fountains. I bless you every time I take my breath. My arms wave like banners of praise to you. The psalmist was worshiping God, and he said, you're an incredibly generous God. Deuteronomy 15:10. Give freely and spontaneously. Don't have a stingy heart. Now let me just stop for a moment. That's just kind of clear, isn't it? Give freely, give generously. Don't have a stingy heart. Now, I know you don't. I know you don't. But how many of you know somebody that has a stingy heart? Huh? You know what I'm talking about? Yeah, okay. How many of you are sitting beside them right now? Don't go there. Don't go there. Now watch this. The way you handle matters like this. Like what? Like giving generously. Now watch this. The way that you handle the matters like giving generously triggers God. It gets God's attention. Now watch. It triggers God, your God's blessing in everything that you do. All of your work and your ventures. There are always going to be poor and needy people among you, so I command you, always be generous. Open purse and hands and give to your neighbors in trouble, your poor and your hurting neighbors. You see, it's out of that verse several years ago that I realized that there are all kinds of generosity. There's what I call open heart generosity. He talks about that here. And open heart generosity is a desire to help others. It's just a desire to add value, to make a difference. If your heart kind of just leaped out on the screen when you saw what the Christmas offering, the birthday gift of Jesus does from Christ Fellowship, if you just kind of were resonated to that and attracted and drawn to that, it's because you have an open heart of generosity. And then there's the open mind of generosity, and that's a way of thinking, always thinking of ways that you can help others, that you can add value to them. Isaiah 32:8, a generous man devises a generous plan. Oh, I love that scripture. In other words, when you're generous, you're always thinking of ways to expand and exceed that generosity because you have learned something that most people never know in life, and that is that it's all of the blessing, all the fulfillment in life comes from giving, from sharing, from making a positive difference in other people's life, for adding value. You see, at the beginning of my day, this has been true for me for 30 plus years. Every morning when I awaken, the first question I ask myself is, who today can I add value to? That's my first question. Who today? Who am I going to see? Where am I going to be? What's the situation? Who today can I add value to? Every day, every morning. And every evening when I wrap my day up, I go through a ritual every evening. And the last question I ask myself is, who did I add value to today? I mean, who did I help? Who did I serve? Who did I lift. These are the bookends of a generous person's life. They wake up in the morning by who can I add value to, and they wake up or they close their evening by who did I add value to? Because you see, if I was doing relationship teaching today, and I've written books on relationships, and there's a whole bunch of stuff you can say it, but can I tell you, I can teach relationships to you in just a couple sentences. It's very simple. In your relationship with people, you are either a plus or a minus. We're done. You see, I'm a communicator, not an educator. You know that. Educator takes something simple and makes it complicated. If you're not confused, they're not happy. A communicator takes something complicated and makes it simple. My name's John. I'm your friend. It's very, very simple. You're either a plus in people's lives or you're a minus. You're either living a generous lifestyle and you add value to people, or to be honest with you, you have a very selfish lifestyle and you suck the life out of people. And by the way, you know that because when you walk into a room, if people are glad to see you, I mean, you think of the people, if they walk in a room and you're glad to see something, oh, it's so good to see you. Can I tell you, they add value to you. But there are times, aren't there, when you're in a room and somebody comes in the room and you go, oh. Whew. They're here. And then it gets worse. They see you. And now it's starting to compound. They're walking to you. And you're feeling life being literally sucked out of your body. And you're looking at them and you're saying, oh no, oh no, oh no. Oh Jesus, Jesus. Take me, Jesus, take me, take me, Jesus. Take me, Jesus, take me. And then you think, oh no, that's not the right prayer. Oh Lord, Jesus, take them, Jesus. Take them, huh? Come on, take them. Huh? Whoa, you know exactly what I'm talking about. Wow. Oh, I shouldn't say this. People tell me all the time, say, John, I can't believe what you say. Oh, you'd be more impressed if you knew what I didn't say. Oh my gosh. When I was a pastor and I had a huge church, 10th largest church in America in San Diego, and oh my gosh, we'd lose a great member who was just such a loving, adding value person. I said, oh Lord, why'd you have to take them? You know what I'm saying? And so I sat down one day and I said, could I give you some suggestions? Just suggestions that perhaps maybe you could take one of them. You know what I'm saying? Kind of even it out a little bit. Even it out a little bit. There are two kinds of people on earth today, just two kinds of people. No more, I say. Not the good and the bad, for it's well understood. The good are half bad and the bad are half good. There's just two kinds of people on earth, I mean. The people who lift and the people who lean. It's that simple. My verse, it's been my verse for several years, my generosity verse is 1 Timothy chapter 6, verse 17. Tell those rich in this world's wealth. Let me stop here for a moment. When we think of rich in the world's wealth, you immediately exclude yourself. No. This is for every one of us in this room, because let me tell you something. If you make $32,000 a year, you're in the top 1% in the world as far as wealth. So that covers all of us, okay? If you're rich in this world's wealth, to quit being so full of themselves and so obsessed with money, which is here today and gone tomorrow, tell them to go after God, who piles on all the riches that we could ever manage, to do good, to be rich in helping others, to be extravagantly generous. And if they do that, they'll build a treasury that will last, gaining life that is truly life. Fasten your seatbelts. I'm going to give you now 6 things that define if you live generously. Are you ready? Number 1, living generously means that we live on the other side of yes. I love that phrase, living on the other side of yes. I have a friend, Larry Stockstill. I was speaking to 5,000 leaders a couple of years ago, and I was casting a vision, so I was in the green room after I taught. Larry came in and grabs hold of me, gives him a big hug, and he said, John, you cast a big vision, and my answer is yes. My answer is yes. I said, well, what do you mean by that, Larry? He said, I mean, it's yes. It's yes. Whatever you want me to do, yes. Whatever you need from me, it's yes. My answer is yes. You just tell me what you want. My answer is yes. And then he told me, he said, many years ago, John, I knew and determined to live on the other side of yes. I have a propensity to always say yes. 40 years ago, my first book came out called Think on These Things. 40 years, man. 40 years, 82 books later. Some lady told me that day, said, John, you've written more books than I've ever read in my life. And when you think about it, that's not a big deal, 82 books. Just think about it. You got to be old to do that. If you're not old, you can't accomplish that, okay? First book, Think on These Things. 100 pages, 33 chapters. It wasn't any good. In fact, it's still in print. Listen to me. Don't buy it. This is a good book. 82 books later, I got better. You understand? Some lady brought me the first book the other day and said, this is your first book? I said, I know it. She said, I love it. I said, you do? What do you love about it? She said, the short chapters. You've got 33 chapters in 100 pages. That's 3 pages. I love the short chapters. She said, where did you think about those short? I mean, that was so ingenious. You thinking about those short chapters. How did you think about that? I said, lady, I wasn't any good. Some of those chapters are 2 pages too long. I ran out of gas. I had nothing else to say. But the foundation of the book, Think on These Things, was a verse foundationally that I grew up with when my father continually taught me. Philippians 4, 8, and 9, summing it all up. Now, you talk about living on the other side of yes. Friends, I'd say you do best by filling your minds and meditating on these things. True, noble, reputable, authentic, compelling, gracious. The best, not the worst. The beautiful, not the ugly. Things to praise, not things to curse. That's a living on the other side of yes verse. You see, if it was just the two of us, not thousands of us, but if it was just the two of us and you were on the other side of the table and you said, John, if you could just give me any kind of advice or guidance on living a successful life, what would it be? I would just say to you that your success is more greatly going to be determined by how you think than anything else in life. As a man thinketh in his heart, as a woman thinketh in her heart, so is he, so is she. We see things not as they are, we see things as we are. You see, a lot of people, they don't live on the other side of yes. They live on the other side of no. And so every time you live on the other side of no, instead of seeing the possibilities, you see the problem. And every time you see an opportunity, guess what? You see a difficulty. Somebody the other day said, oh, I just blew it. I lost an opportunity. I should have made that. I should have said yes, and I lost that opportunity. And I said, oh, don't worry about it. Opportunities are never lost. Somebody found it. Just wasn't you. You see, we who live on the other side of yes, wait for you who live on the other side of no to say no so we can have it. Several years ago, I stopped at McDonald's. This was Margaret and I just celebrated our 50th anniversary this summer, so it was a long time ago, okay? And we were first married, and we stopped at McDonald's, and back then you didn't go inside. McDonald's was just outside. It just had big golden arches, and you ordered your hamburger on the outside. And so Margaret was drinking Diet Coke, wanted Diet Coke, and I didn't know they didn't have Diet Coke, so I asked for a Diet Coke. The little girl said, oh, I'm sorry, we don't have that. So I thought, okay, I'll just get a cup full of ice. I'll go down to the next convenience store and get her a Diet Coke. And so I asked her for a cup of ice. And when I asked her for a cup of ice, she's looking at her register, and she's really confused because there's nowhere it says cup of ice. And so she's just looking at it, just bless her heart. And finally she says, I'm so sorry, I don't see it here. I don't think I can do that. And I smiled and I said, yes, you can. And she said, okay. And she did. And that day I said to myself, I'm going to live my whole life being a yes, you can man. I'm here to tell you, listen to me, folks, listen to me. Yes, you can. Yes, you can. Yes, you can. Yes, you can. You've got to live on the other side of yes. Let's go to point number 2. Point number 1 was good, wasn't it? Isn't that good? That was good. Okay. Point number 2. Is the person on your left getting their notes? Are you helping them there? Help them out now. Okay. Point number 2 is when you live generously, we continually sow seeds. A generous person is an extravagant, ridiculous seed sower. In fact, people ask me, they'll say, John, how do you judge or evaluate your day as a successful day? I say, it's very simple. I evaluate every day of my life, very simple. I evaluate it by the seeds I sow, not by the harvest I reap. You see, 99% of the people value everything in life by the harvest they reap. What's in it for me? When am I going to get it? Oh my gosh, it should be coming. I don't do that at all. You see, I know that there's a natural law principle at work, and that is, if I'm just sowing seeds every day, just sow seeds, John, just add value, give, live generously, help people, make a difference, serve, lift. If I do that every day, you see, what I understand is the harvest is automatic. The harvest will come. But there are a whole bunch of people, they've never sown any seeds in their life, and they're going out every day looking for a harvest. Woo! You're not a dreamer, you're on drugs. I'm not Johnny Appleseed, but I am Johnny adding value to people's seed. And I do it every day, and I don't look for a return. I'm not waiting for you to pay me back. I'm not going there and say, well, yesterday, I love these people who keep score. Well, yesterday I gave you this, so it's your turn to give me something. I mean, hello? I'm not talking about trade-offs. I'm not talking about negotiating. I'm talking about living a generous lifestyle, period, end of story. You see, the soil says, bring me your seed, not bring me your need. We got people going out in the fields all the time, and they're bringing their need. Well, I got this need, and I got this need. And the soil says, I'm so sorry, can't help you with your need. You got to sow some seed. You got to sow some seed. Wow. Here's what Jesus said. Jesus said, give away your life, and you'll find your life given back, but not merely given back with bonus and blessing. Giving, not getting, is the way. Generosity begets generosity. You see, most people, they're preoccupied with increasing their standard of living. I'm preoccupied with increasing my standard of giving. There's a world of difference. It's two worlds, folks. Listen, it's two worlds, and you can live in either one of them. It's your choice. But I'm here to tell you, my name is John, and I am your friend. This can change your life. And you say, well, I don't understand it. I'm not asking you to understand it. I'm asking you to do it. That most people are already educated way beyond their level of obedience. That was good, wasn't it? Golly, that was good. Don't think I have anything else good in here, but that was good. I remember when I was at Microsoft, I was speaking to their company on leadership all day, and they were asking me a Q&A at the end of the day, and they asked me what my financial goals were, and I smiled, and I looked at them, and I said, you don't want to know. They said, what do you mean we don't want to know? I said, what I mean is you don't want to know what my financial goals are. They said, why? I said, because they're not like yours. You don't want to know. Do you know if you tell people they don't want to know, it increases their desire to know? And finally they insisted. I said, well, okay, I'm going to tell you, but you really don't want to know. You see, I said the only financial goals I have in my whole life are giving all my money away before I die. That's the only goal I got. It really is. You're saying, John, what's wrong with you? Nothing's wrong with me. You see, I made an observation. Perhaps you've not made it before, but it's okay, I'll help you. The observation I've made is when you die, you don't take it with you. Now, what am I missing here? What am I missing? You don't take it with you. You don't take it with you. And so my theme is, do your giving while you're living so you're knowing where it's going. Number three, if we live generously, we grow in our faith. We are growing in our faith. This is, a lot of people don't realize it. If you're a generous liver, it causes you to spiritually grow. Just as if you're not a generous liver, it stunts your growth. It's just a fact. Here's what Peter says. So don't lose a minute in building on what you've been given, complementing your basic faith. Okay, so now I want you to complement your basic faith with good character, spiritual understanding, alert discipline, passionate patience, reverent wonder, warm friendliness, and generous love. Each dimension fitting in and developing the others. And with these qualities active and growing in your lives, no grass will grow under your feet. So not a day will pass as its reward as you mature and you experience in your maturity in the Master Jesus. In other words, this is part of your spiritual growth. Last week, Margaret and I went up to Winter Haven and celebrated my father's 98th birthday. And so we took him to lunch. And my sister Trish was with us. And he's just an incredible man. And he suffered a stroke a couple of years ago. And so he doesn't speak very much anymore. But he lights up the room with his smile. I mean, when he had a stroke, I sat down with him one day. We just spent him and I personal time together. And I told Dad that just because he couldn't speak didn't limit him in adding value to people. And we just talked about lighting up the room with a smile and a warm handshake. And he just does it so well. And so we're having our lunch, and I'm just loving his arm, just holding his arm, and he put his hand on mine, and we don't need to talk. We don't need to talk. I'm just loving him and basically saying, when I get older, I want to be just like you, Dad. Just want to be like you. Just want to be like you. I mean, when he goes to heaven, he's going to be right by Jesus. When I go to heaven, I'm going to be in some satellite out there somewhere. Just incredible. So when we sat down, we sang happy birthday to him, and then when they brought us a little birthday cake, we sang happy birthday to him. And so now we're wrapping it all up. And I thought, this is his 98th birthday. Not many people get that. So I just got up in my booming voice and I told the whole restaurant, I said, I have an announcement. My dad is 98. We're all going to now stand and sing happy birthday to him. Whole restaurant, about 120 people stood up. We sang happy birthday to him. When it was all over, Dad smiled and he wanted to go to every table and thank them. Isn't that beautiful? He told me, he said one time about 5 years ago, he said, isn't it wonderful? He said, the older you get, the more you love people. I said, that's not true, Dad. I said, I know a lot of people, they're getting older. They're not loving people anymore. In fact, there are a whole bunch of people, they're just withdrawing. You see, the reason it's true in your life is because you have a generous lifestyle. It's true because that's how you live. That's who you are. And because you live that generous lifestyle, you just continue loving people. If you have a stingy, like it's going to be mine and I'm going to serve myself lifestyle, can I tell you, you'll die old alone. What part of this do you not understand? Number 4, if we live this generous lifestyle, I love this one, we attract people to God. We really attract people to God. Jesus said, be generous with your lives. And by opening up to others, you'll prompt people to open up with God, this generous Father in heaven. Jesus said, when you're generous, he said, it opens up the whole way of sharing your faith. People want God when they see you're generous. When you're kind to people, they want to know about your God. When you help people, they want to know about your God. When you serve people, they want to know about your God. When you love people, they want to know about your God. But can I tell you something? If you're into it for yourself and you're stingy, and you don't have a loving personality, and you don't smile, and you're not kind to, can I tell you something? People don't want to know about your God at all. In fact, they don't even want to know about you. I was recently at Columbia University, and I was speaking, and I had the invitation to come and speak there, and so I did, and they had asked me, they said, it's okay if you want to share your faith. And so I thought, well, this will be interesting. And so I shared my faith. And I talked about what does it mean to be salt and light in the world? And which basically was all about living generously. What's it like to, salt makes things better and light makes things brighter. So what's it mean to do that? And so when I finished, I said, and I told him, I said, my goal is to be in such a positive person, generous person, that I make people hungry for God. I said, I hope I'm making you hungry. I hope by you hearing me, you're just saying, oh, he's got something I don't have. I wonder what that is. I hope I'm making you hungry. And so when I finished, I said to them, I said, now, many of you maybe came to hear me do leadership, and I didn't quite do what you expected. I said, if I disappointed you, would you just come up and let me know? Because I would like to talk to you for a moment. And just one lady came, she was in the military, one lady came up to me, and she said, what you said was pretty amazing, but I really came, in fact, my officer above me sent me to get your leadership teaching and bring it back to them, and I didn't get the leadership. And so she said, I am disappointed. And I said, I'm sorry. I said, I didn't want to disappoint you. And I said, let me see if I can help you. You need to take something back to your officer? She said, yes. I said, well, I have a digital program on leadership I'd like to give you. It's $399, Norm, but I want to give it to you. I just want to give it to you. And could you take it back to him? And I'll give you the code, and you can unlock it for all the people there, and you can take a whole course on it, okay? And I said, come to think about it, I have one other digital program that is really good on developing people, and could I give that one to you too? And she's looking at me and said, no, I didn't come up to get anything. I just was telling you, I was kind of expecting one thing. I said, I know you didn't. I said, you're wonderful. I love your attitude. I love your spirit, but I disappointed you. And I just want to serve you. I want to give this to you. I want to give you something back, so when you go back, your officer says, wow, I'm glad I sent you. And she looked at me, and tears came into her eyes. And she said, you're making me hungry for God. Of course. Every day of my life, I make people hungry for God. Every day. It's this living generously. It makes a whole difference. Number 5, living generously means that we'll receive more than we can ever imagine. We will receive more than we can ever imagine. Proverbs 11:24. This verse is just almost borders on ridiculous. The world of the generous gets larger and larger, and the world of the stingy gets smaller and smaller. Very simple question to ask you. Do you want your world to get smaller? Be stingy. You want your world to get larger? Be generous. The one who blesses others is abundantly blessed, and those who help others are helped. Huge, huge. Now, let me just stop here for a moment, because it's the truth that we receive more than we ever imagined when we live a generous lifestyle. But I want to be very clear here, because I'm not teaching a prosperity gospel here. I'm not teaching you that you give to get. We're not talking about the stock market, the eternal stock market here. I'm not talking about if I give $10, I expect God to give me $100. It came Friday. It's been 5 days. I haven't got my money back. That's cheap stuff. We're not going there. You understand that? If you live a generous lifestyle, you don't keep score. You just live. You just give to give. You give to live. Are you with me? I remember God, Lord, this is several years ago. I had one preacher. I got on the mail in some way, and so he sent me one to raise some money, and so he basically sent me this, this thing. This is amazing. He said, God's talked to me, and if you will send me $1,000, God will send you $10,000. And I thought, wow, this is like, man, let's make a deal. I wonder which door that sucker's behind. I thought, wow, send him 1,000, I get 10? Shoot, if that's true, I think I'll do that every day and just, man, wouldn't that be something? Here's your 1,000, I got a 10. Here's your 1,000, I got a 10. Hello, get in line. And then I thought that's very selfish the way I'm thinking. So I wrote him a note. I said, I started to do this, but it's too selfish of me. I would like to serve you. You send me 1,000, and God will give you 10. Woo! That's the way you get off a mailing list. That's the way you get off a mailing list. Wow! I was talking to Angela Arntz the other day. CEO, used to be CEO of Burberry, third in Apple, highest paid woman executive in the world. And we were having a conversation. She's a beautiful person, a beautiful Christian, a wonderful friend. And I asked her, I said, what's the best advice that you ever received from anybody? And she said, well, my father gave it to me. And she said, my father taught me just very simply. She said, Angela, all your life, give 60, take 40. Give 60, take 40. This is huge. Give 60, take 40. And she said, all my life, I just give 60. I'm not trying to win. I just give 60. I'll take 40. I just take 60 and 40. And we got to talk about it. She's a person of faith. And what we came up with is obviously very simple. Is if you give 60 and 40, what happens is God makes up the difference. Oh, he always says, there's an exchange principle that when I wrote this in here, I thought, I'd like to teach this sometime. The exchange principle just says this. Every person passing through life will leave something and take something. Leave more than you take. That's this generous mindset. Okay, I'm way over time, so I'm just jumping. Okay, number six, okay? This is number 6. Are we doing okay? Are you learning something? Is the person on your left learning something? Are we doing good? Are we doing good, huh? Okay, all right. Number six. If you and I live generously, we live out our God-created identity. When people tell me they want to be God-like, they want to be Christ-like, I'm telling you right now, be generous. And I didn't say this, by the way, Jesus said it. Is it okay if Jesus says it? Jesus says, in a word, what I'm saying is grow up. Your kingdom subjects now live like it. Live out here. Jesus said this, not John. I'm just passing it on. Jesus said, live out your God-created identity. How do you do that? Live generously and gracious toward others the way that God lives toward you. In other words, Jesus said, not John, Jesus said, if you want to be God-like, if you want to be Christ-like, you have to live this generous, incredible, abundant lifestyle. And that's one of the reasons I love this church so much, is because it's filled with generous people. People who really love God and just love to give of your time and your talents and every part of your life. You just are all in, and I think it's beautiful. And as we get ready, of course, for the birthday gift to Jesus, it's the highlight for me. The first gift our family gives every year is a birthday gift to Jesus. We've done this for 30 years. I mean, first thing that we do is it's by the way, this might be news for some of you, it's Jesus' birthday. It may escape some of you. Some of you may, it's a little heavy for you, but listen, it's Jesus' birthday, and if it's Jesus' birthday, he should have the first gift. Then I'll give gifts to my family, but they don't get the first one. In fact, when I give gifts to my family, I look at Jesus and say, oh, by the way, I covered you first. Covered you first. And this Christmas offering, we get a chance to cover him first. Father, thank you for these beautiful people. They love you. Thank you for this church. Thank you for its outreach. Thank you for its generous spirit. May each one of us just become more generous because of this teaching. Help us to live this lifestyle because it makes us God-like. For God so loved the world that he gave, that he gave, that he gave his only son. And everybody said, amen. God bless you.
Thanks so much for watching Christ Fellowship Church on YouTube. We hope that you've enjoyed this week's message.
For more content just like this, be sure to subscribe to our YouTube channel. We hope you have a great rest of your week. God bless.